Hi, this is Carol from SkillCheck. Today we're going to be talking about when storage managers need to sneak and peek. Oh, yeah. I know it's kind of a strange topic, right? And I don't know why or when I started calling it sneak and peek, but when we felt like we had to see what's in a unit or, yeah, what was going on, we needed to sneak and peek. So that's sort of my go-to word when I'm looking for, uh, yeah, looking in a storage space. So let's talk about that. Why would we ever need to look into a storage space? I guess that's, why are you doing this webinar? Well, sometimes things happen. And one, for example, would be like a customer said that they were vacating, but the lock was still on. And let's say they're gone somewhere. I just heard this the other day. And the person said, well, I'm in Colorado now and I'm not going back to Florida to take my lock off. So how are you guys going to figure this out? And the reality is if we can find some way, to be able to look in there to see if it's vacant or not, then that would be wonderful, right? Also, if there's a lock on a space, but it's not the customer's lock, that has happened in the past, and that might be another reason why we would look into the space or to take the lock off. An odd odor, especially coming from the space, would be another reason. Something leaking out of the space, like this example, my son and I found this one in Utah when we were there. And at first, when it was pretty cold out, and we were looking, and it kind of the way the sun was shining on it, it looked a little red. And my son's like, "Yeah, Mom, if that's blood, I'm done with this." So I was like, "No, this is just getting exciting, right?" Oh, we would call the police, but I'm just saying if it was blood, we would be calling for that. So first, I would say before anything, you want to contact the customer unless there's some issue that makes it sort of an emergency. And do you love this? I love the Breaking Bad TV show where all that money's in there in the storage space. I see a little scale in there too. I'm thinking, are they weighing the things of money just to see if it's the right amount? I don't know. I guess I'm assuming that's it, or weighing the drugs. But there are some emergencies and some reasons why we would look in the space or to cut the lock off. One is a chemical odor coming from the space. That would be a big one. The customer giving you permission because it was not their lock. That's another thing that's happened before for me. Sometimes there's someone in the space or something alive in the space. That would be another good time to actually cut that lock off. And if it's full of cash, I would just say absolutely call the owner and then let the owner decide what to do. I have to tell you, years ago I found a bag in a storage property in Florida, and the manager and I were inventorying it for auction, and it was a duffel bag, and the manager's like, well, you or me? And I'm like, you. And he was like, oh, it's going to be old dirty socks. And he zips it open and it's full of cash. So you never, when you think sometimes like, oh, that could never happen. Well, it does, and it has. So it's very weird, and it makes for something interesting, I guess, in life, right? So let me tell you some other strange things that I found when I've opened up spaces and where, or in the first case, heard something strange. One of my managers in Albuquerque, when I worked for National Self Storage, out there, sweeping up outside, and he heard something, and he kept going a little further, and he noticed outside was some hay or straw. He wasn't sure. He said, I don't know, there's something, all around the exterior of the space, and I clean it up almost every day. There's something out there. And and he got close to it, and he bumped up against it, and you could hear the goats inside. And then he called me and he said, what do I do? I said, okay, first, I think we could probably call animal control. Maybe they would take it, or call the customer and say, what the heck? Come get your flipping animals out of our space. I can't even imagine why they would do that. I found a woman locked in a space for punishment by her husband. I didn't, one of my managers did. And the manager called and said, what do we do? And I said, oh geez, you got to be kidding me. And he said, no, that I was out sweeping, and I was checking some locks, and he said I was out there, and then I heard something, and then it was a woman in there, and she told me, it's okay, my husband will come back later. And he said, ma'am, you're locked in the space. And she said, yes, yeah, he's upset with me, and so he puts me in here for punishment. Okay. Okay, ladies out there, if your husband's putting you in storage for punishment, it might be a good idea to divorce that person. Or something is strange. I don't know. It's just life is weird. A child left behind in the space during the day. This wasn't my store, but at another person's that I know, because she was kicked out of school. I have found marijuana plants growing in the space. I had customers complaining in this one hallway. It was in Northern California, and I went out to the store, and the manager says, "I don't know what we're going to do, but it smells so bad in there." So I go in there, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" It was a short little hallway. It wasn't very long. So as soon as you open the door, it's just a huge smell that marijuana or something like planty growing on, and dirt too. It had a real weird smell in there. And so I said, okay, can you go get the go get the ladder? But whenever I say that, they know it's not a good sign. And I get up on the ladder and look over into the space, and you can see all the marijuana plants laid out. It was on several stacks of little table things, and it just, and plus he had like a thing from the state of California saying, I guess, that it was okay to have the marijuana. And I told him that's not going to fly here. I told him he needed to get out, and he didn't want to get out, so I increased his rent by several $100s. Obviously, lots of people have illegal drugs stored. Bomb-making chemicals have been used in self-storage. In fact, the first one, the Trade Center bomb, the first one, was actually made in a storage space. Drug labs, we've had lots of those. People living in the space, gosh darn it, we can't keep them from trying to live in there. I've heard of people that have had brothels in self-storage, and I can't even imagine that. We know that they put stolen property in there. Sometimes they steal from other customers and then put it into their space. Quick and easy. They don't have to, they actually rent a small unit, and they start stealing from other people and put the stuff in space or in their space, and then walk away from it and then come get it later. So also a dead body in a freezer. So when people try to plug up freezers and things, it's just never a good idea. Cremated remains. Northern California had one of the biggest stings where they found this person was saying that they were taking these remains and, taking it up in an airplane and putting it over the mountains or whatever. And they never did. They put it in the storage property, but they charged the people for it. Crazy weird stuff. Also, my friend Pam Domingue, she gave me some good ones too, because they found some Nazi memorabilia, and also 60 mason jars of pot. I love that one too. Who would like put it together into mason jars? But I guess this is probably what they were selling it in. Go pick it up and go sell it, and then come back and get the next one, is what I'm guessing. And also, I found in Northern California mason jars that were in a space. There were a lot of them too, and it turned out to be a serial rapist. And at first we saw like some hair and stuff. And then we got to like one that had some underwear in it. And I told the manager, oh, wait a minute, we need to be out of here. Call the police immediately. And it's just things that you need to know, I guess, and what's in there and why it's in there. And we don't always know, right? So, there are some spaces that make it really easy to look over into another space. I really think this is a very odd design here into this storage space, because if you look over here, you can see where it looks like a customer could very easily look over into someone else's space. And if they're skinny enough, they could probably get it through there and get the stuff and pass it back over to their friend on the other side. So I'm not so sure I'm keen on this design here. I would fix that. Although I'm sure they were just trying to get airflow, but they've got that airflow up here. So I really have worried about it, frankly. But and really think about this, when you're investigating and you're up on the ladder looking over the top, because a lot of times they just have wire on the top so that air conditioning can flow through there. Be careful. You don't want to fall in, fall through. You can only do so much. If you want to see, is it empty? Is it full? Especially if you think, oh, the person says they've moved out, but we're not sure. So if you can check it, it would be great. But if not, just be careful. There are also exterior spaces that we've wanted to look into, and it's a little harder because you can't look over the top with the ladder and things, but there are ways around that. with exterior units. And on occasion, I have actually been able to use mechanics mirrors. I don't know if you know what those are. And also they have the kind of mirrors that now they look under the car for, like, if you're going through a checkpoint to see if you have any bombs or marijuana or whatever you're going to store underneath there. And they're telescoping too, and they're kind of thin. So if you can just even get the door up a little, you can see what's inside. You know what? Another thing is, to me, I can usually bang on a door like this and tell whether there's stuff in it or not. And okay, I've been wrong on occasion, but I bet say 95% of the time I'm right that it's empty, because it has a certain sound, empty versus full. But if you're not good at listening or knowing the difference, you might not know. But anyway, but with technology, we're now really able to peek in some of these spaces a little easier. And I think this is just ingenious, and it's wonderful for us. And basically, if you want to find out if someone's moved out, there's some high-tech devices that can help you do that. Chateau sells this particular one. It's a C-scope, and basically it's an LCD monitor, which is really nice, so you can actually see in it. You put it under the door, just slip it very easily under the door. You can see, you can actually take pictures from that, which is amazing, which is nice to do. Yeah, so it's really easy to do. And let me show you the next one too, because it's even a little bit more high tech, because it's got the Bluetooth technology. And $119. I think that's so reasonable to know. And especially when you think, oh, I'm going to wait on the customer to come take the lock off, or we wait a month or something. Most of the time, you don't want to wait that long. You want to get that thing right back on the list of available to rent. So, and thank you to Chateau Products for being able to let me use these. And if you'd like to order it, you can call 800-833-9296. And I really love the people at Chateau. They've always done a great job with me. But if you're wanting to sneak and peek, here is the technology to do so. Well, thank you so much for watching. And again, this is Carol Mixon from SkillCheck. And if you have any topics that you would like for me to talk about, or that might be a little fun, and please subscribe. It really is important for me to get subscribers somehow. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I think it's important to get subscribers and beat my son out for the number of subscribers. But if you want to contact me, it's carol@skillcheck.com, 1-800-374-7545. Yeah, sometimes I'm a little slow on the uptake on my email, but I will get back to you. And if you have topics or anything you want to hear, please let me know. I'd love to hear what you have to say and any ideas that you might have. And good luck and good renting. Hey, and do a few sneak and peeks and let me know how those go. Bye.